Well, hello and welcome back. Yes, I just said goodbye just previously. I know, very lucky. You got me twice in a row. I was out and missed the Chrisley update. We'll have to watch replay. Great plan to create. I want to talk about Kyrios, Barilaro, and Johnson, which is really, really interesting. So I don't know. Let's. The Barilaro case has gone crazy. We know that Kyrios has been, he's now in the Wimbledon final after Nadal forfeited his place. The thing about Kyrios is he's known as a bad boy, and he's due to be summoned. He's got a court summons over an SA case that has been filed, and everyone's in mixed feelings about it. However, what I will preface by saying, you've got to remember that he's innocent until proven guilty. So everything is just alleged. So whether or not, whatever you think about him, he's still innocent until proven guilty. But am I staying dry? Yes, the floods aren't in my area, which is good. Yes, but with a little bit of rain. So there was an article this morning. So let's start with we'll start with Kyrios. So everyone is in mixed feelings, but as I said, he's innocent until proven guilty. So news.com.au debate erupts over Nick Kyrgios's place in Wimbledon final after the Nadal bombshell. So it's divided about whether he deserves to be in there. So Nadal, he's announced on Friday morning that he would not be able to face Kyrios in the final because of an abdominal tear, gifting the Aussie a walkover in Sunday night's final. So it's either going to be between Djokovic or Norrie. But some are saying that he shouldn't be given an automatic pass. Nadal defeated American Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinals. Tennis commentators are now wondering whether Fritz should be allowed to remain in the draw and play Kyrios for a place in the final. It's been asked whether it's fair Kyrios receives a walkover, and if tennis should consider impending its lucky loser policy deeper into Grand Slams than usual. The lucky loser rule allows for players who have lost during qualifying or the opening round of a tournament to come back in the draw should another star pull out with injury. In this instance, it would give Fritz the chance to play Kyrios in the semi-finals, even after he's lost to Nadal in the quarters. If this doesn't happen this late in the Grand Slam, but some are questioning whether this year's unique situation should convince tennis bosses to consider extending when the lucky loser guidelines can apply. So veteran New York Times tennis reporter Christopher Clary was among those to ask if Fritz should be allowed to play. It happens so rarely, but I think it's worth exploring when there are player withdrawals this late into the Grand Slam or before a major tour final. The beaten player should be able to take the slot. In this case, Fritz would play Kyrios as a lucky loser. The show must go on. Someone else has agreed. Tennis star turned broadcaster Pam Schreider has also said about the lucky loser positively. What does Wimbledon gain with Nadal winning his quarterfinal and not being to play in the semi? Nothing. In fact, the sport loses one of its marquee matches of the year. And they're saying it's not fair because Kyrios gets to have 3 days before the final. So now there were voices who don't believe a player should be rewarded after losing in the Grand Slam. Responding, who suggested he should be advancing to semi-final against Kyrios in Nadal's place, Fritz replied, "Nah, not looking for handouts. If I couldn't beat him, Nadal, then I don't deserve to be in the semis. Simple as that." Tennis writer Matthew Wills said there was no need to consider the lucky loser format. I'm still confused about the logic behind it. He wrote, how does it not degrade the competitive spirit of the sport? And it's sufficiently rare that it seems like a solution without a meaningful problem. Fellow tennis writer Ricky Dimmons said, please tell me We aren't starting this mid-tournament lucky loser discussion again. Respected Sports Illustrated tennis journalist tweeted, I get the temptation, but I don't know how you take a player who's lost outright and let him back in the draw. Apart from the unfairness, there's a real temptation for corruption. American sports writer Dan Walken tweeted, the problem is that say Fritz goes back into semi-final as the lucky loser and somehow wins the tournament. We all saw him lose. The tournament then becomes illegitimate. So very, very interesting how that happens. So then we've got he's booked for US tournament at the same time as his court date. So he's not, Kyrios has not stated whether he will attend court in Australia in person. So he's accused of assaulting his former girlfriend Remember, it's just accused. He's just been accused. All right. But he's been named to play a tournament in the US at the same time. Having reached a major semi-final for the first time, he was tight-lipped, went about his summons. But in an expansive media conference after his quarterfinal, he expressed his personal pride at beginning to fulfill his enormous professional potential and maintained that his preparation for the showdown with Cristian Garin was in no way affected by the news of his court date. Kyrios is summoned to appear at the ACT Magistrates Court on August 2 for an incident involving former girlfriend. He has been announced as part of the lineup for the City Open tournament in Washington, which he won in 2019. The event runs between July 30 and August 7. ACT police said in a statement that the allegations related to an incident in December last year, which Kyrios barrister says was in the context of a domestic relationship. After defeating Garin in 3 sets, he stressed he could not discuss his off-court situation. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of things I want to say, kind of my side about it. I've been advised by my lawyers that I'm unable to say anything at this time. I understand everyone wants to kind of ask about it, but I can't give you too much right now. Asked about the timing of receiving the summons during Wimbledon and whether he'd be going to court. He said, look, I understand you want me to give you the answers. I can't speak on the issue anymore. Pressed on whether he was aware of the summons before Wimbledon, the world number 40 said, do you want me to sound like a broken record? So it's, you know, what do you think? I'm interested to know, do you think that there should be a lucky loser policy, or should it, I mean, if it was somebody else other than Kyrios, would we be questioning it? Would there be questions over it if it wasn't Kyrios? I don't know. But as I said, we've got to remember that it's innocent until proven guilty. And I personally, I mean, I don't like the guy. Personally, I'm not really a big fan. However, you know, it's got to be proven. So let's get on to Barilaro. This is the stuff that's really doing my head in at the moment. So it's been reported. This is what it's been reported. It's been alleged, remember, that there was another woman shortlisted for the job in New York. So not only did he beat one woman, he beat two. Now I don't care the fact that they were females or who they were, but two qualified people, suitably qualified people, missed out on the job. So this is a highly credentialed female candidate was overlooked for John Barilaro for a Plum Trade Commissioner role to be based in New York. Now he's now since withdrawn from the job, so everybody in America can rest easy. Barilaro is not coming. A new return of papers ordered through New South Wales Parliament has revealed that Kimberly Cole had met the Trade Minister, Stuart Ayres, over the phone in March. In an email on March 8, 16, booking in the call, Ms. Cole was referred to as the preferred candidate. But 5 days later, the CEO of Investment New South Wales, Amy Brown, replies stating she's part of the shortlist. I'd like to state that we don't currently have a preferred candidate for the stick US job. She wrote, "We currently have 3 shortlisted candidates and the Minister is meeting Kimberley in her capacity as a shortlisted candidate." On her LinkedIn profile, which matches a redacted CV in the documents, Ms. Cole described herself as an award-winning, Hong Kong-based global senior executive with 25 plus years sales, marketing, and leadership experience. Her resume states she currently works for IT consultancy LIC as a chief commercial officer and as an executive board member, and was previously head of sales Asia at Thomson Reuters. Ms. Cole is also an ambassador for the organisation Women on Boards. While giving evidence to a parliamentary inquiry in the process behind Barilaro's appointment, Ms. Brown said she was in 2 minds about another candidate who ended up being runner-up for the role. "I requested that Minister Ayres meet with one of the shortlisted candidates for the Stick Americas, who was not Mr. Barilaro. I wanted to see how that person presented themselves to a minister, to see whether or not they were likely to have the confidence of the minister in that scenario. I was present at the meeting, and by the end of that meeting, I concluded they were not a good fit for the role." Labor's leader in the Upper House, Penny Sharp, said this raised more questions about the appointment process. There was yet another qualified woman who got to the shortlist of this process, in some cases who was considered to be the first candidate who did not end up getting the job. Instead, it went to John Barilaro. It really leads to more questions being asked about this appointment and the involvement of Minister Ayres and Secretary Brown in relation to this process. And I expect what the Parliamentary Committee will look into further. An earlier round of recruitment identified another woman, senior New South Wales bureaucrat Jenny West, as preferred contact. The new document showed Mr. Ayres signed off on a brief detailing she was the preferred candidate in August last year. The offer was rescinded when departments started investigating whether the roles could be made into ministerial appointments. A spokesperson for Investment New South Wales said Mr. Barilaro was endorsed by a selection panel after a recruitment process, including interviews, due diligence, reference, and background checks. Jenny West is due to give evidence to the inquiry on Monday, but Ms. Sharp has accused a fellow member of the committee of intimidation of a witness coming before a hearing by leaking a transcript from an in-camera hearing last week. A front-page story in the Australian quoted Ms. Brown's evidence from the transcript, which she claims about the veracity of Ms. West's experience. Ms. Sharp said leaking the transcript of a confidential hearing was an egregious breach by one of her parliamentary colleagues. So we got more alleged corruption going on. The idea that people cannot come to safely to a committee is something that none of us should support, and we have to make sure that all witnesses are treated with respect. We simply want Jenny West to be able to provide information to the committee in a calm and mature way. No one should have any interest in attacking her. I'm so disappointed this has occurred. The ABC understands other members of the Public Accountability Committee, which is running the parliamentary inquiry, are also angry that the transcript was leaked. So we also know that the Deputy Liberal Leader, the current Deputy Liberal Leader, Stuart Ayres, signed a briefing confirming the appointment of Jenny West. So new documents released through Parliament showed in August that he signed off for the appointments, confirming the full recruitment process had decided on West as the successful candidate. The briefing said the agency should liaise with Ayres' office to offer a meet with West and discuss priorities for international trade and investment prior to her location to New York. While the government has insisted ministers were not responsible for appointing the Trade Commissioner role, and the briefing was only provided to Ayres for noting, it shows that the minister was aware of West's impending appointment and did not raise concerns about it. The document shows Ayres signed the brief with the words approved next to his signature on the 18th of August last year. Then we found out the offer was retracted. Both Ayres and Premier Dominic Perrottet previously told Parliament that no suitable candidate had been identified for the job. On Thursday, Penny Sharp, Labor's Upper House leader, claimed the briefing showed this was not the case. It is clear that Minister Ayres signed off on the appointment of Jenny West and recognised her as the appropriate candidate. To suggest otherwise is incorrect. Similarly, I think the Premier has made similar claims in relation to this. They have provided incorrect information to Parliament. But Ayres dismissed the comments as false and deliberately deceptive. Ayres told The Guardian the Department Secretary has made it clear in the evidence to the Legislative Council Committee that at the end of the first round of recruitment, there was no suitable candidate and a new round of recruitment commenced. to say that this was advice she had provided to me at the same time. I accordingly provided it to the legislators, and to suggest anything other than that is false and deliberately deceptive. So, and again, then there's word that Kimberly Cole was a preferred candidate. So, says in one email exchange from February, an Investment New South Wales staff member reveals Brown intended to share the shortlist of candidates for New York with Ayres. I think Amy was going to share the shortlist with the minister while they were on the road together in London, and she may have shared this with him directly in an email. The Guardian previously revealed that West had previously been told the job was hers. Ayres' formal sign-off revealed how advanced West's appointment was and raised further questions about the decision to retract the offer. Well, Brown said it wasn't Mr. Barilaro's decision, but a decision of government. She told the inquiry her department had been instructed to look into changing the roles so it could be ministerial appointment. Now, I believe that Jenny West left the public service, and I think she was paid some money, I think, to go quietly. So, in a statement after his resignation, Barilaro said he had followed the process during the appointment. I believe my appointment will continue to be a distraction and not allow this important role to achieve what it is designed to do, and thus my decision. I've always maintained that I followed the process and look forward to the results of the reviews. Investment New South Wales said in the statement that it was assisting the Department of Premier and Cabinet and the Legislative Council inquiry in reviews of Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner America's recruitment process, and they will not make any further comment. So again, what do you think? There seems to be some dodgy stuff happening around the place. Wow, hey, this is pretty damning, actually. I think when and the thing is, because there's been calls for documents, you can't hide behind email trail. You can't say, well, I didn't send that email. That didn't happen. So so we know that so overnight we heard that Boris Johnson has resigned from Parliament. Now, he's resigned. Now, his position became untenable, is my understanding. So they're saying that there was a series of scandals. So there was, he's been accused of corruption, pointing to incidences like when WhatsApp messages revealed he'd asked the Conservative Party member donor for funds to refurbish his Downing Street residence. They were fined £17,800 after the Electoral Commission found it had failed to accurately declare all of Lord David Brownlow's donations towards the renovation. When Johnson asked the Queen to shut down Parliament for 5 weeks at the height of the political crisis over the UK's decision to leave the EU. There was the Partygate, term used to describe parties involving government MPs and staff while they were on COVID restrictions. So there was a whole pile of stuff that's going on. Now, somebody told me it's actually his wife that pulls all the strings. That's, again, just an allegation. So this is the live feed that's coming through that ABC Australia has got. Now his own party have expressed concerns over his decision to stay on as caretaker prime minister. So I would have thought that if you were going to leave, you would need to leave promptly. So let's look at the world leaders. So in Ukraine, the country's foreign minister described Johnson as a true friend of Ukraine. The president said he heard the news with sadness. In India, he enjoyed a close friendship, but stressed the UK and India shared a multifaceted relationship. The Irish Prime Minister said Ireland and Britain had the opportunity to repair ties strained in recent times, and that he and Johnson didn't agree and had a challenging relationship. And now they're looking at who could take over. The interesting thing is that Johnson lost a lot of his leadership. So he has said he would remain as Prime Minister until the party chose his successor, and that could take 6 weeks. So many want him to go now. So George Freeman, who resigned as Science Minister on Thursday, said it's very difficult to see how Boris Johnson, given the character that he is going to be able to govern for 3 months in quiet humility and contrition. Mr. Johnson's former advisor has said the government should evict him immediately. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said, I'm not sure that anyone can look at Boris Johnson and conclude that he's capable of genuinely behaving as a caretaker Prime Minister. He wants to do things, and in the process of that, undoubtedly cause more chaos than he already has. John Major, former Conservative UK Prime Minister, said the proposal for Mr. Johnson to remain in office for up to 3 months was unwise and maybe unsustainable. So I'm interested to see what you all think. We're part of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth, so we still have the head of, the Queen is our head of state. We have strong ties. They're how we referred to jokingly as the mother country. So we have strong ties to the UK. As I said in my previous video, when we had Johnson and Morrison, we knew that, we were just going to shake our heads and, I think this is stupid. What we've seen from the new government is that they're governing. They're doing stuff, some of the stuff that they said that they would do. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. But look, I'm interested. So what do you think about the Kyrios, the Barilaro, and the Johnson stuff? So I'm interested to know what you think in the comments below. And I'll be, again, I can only live stream or do pre-recorded videos on my phone at the moment. But I will keep you up to date with anything that happens. And look, I'll catch you next time. Thank you for joining me. If you can help my channel by hitting like button and subscribing, maybe looking at a membership, that would be great. But look, just have a great day and stay safe, everybody. So until next time, bye for now.